welcome. It's great to be here. It's a great honour to be up here, actually speaking on an important occasion like our church anniversary. And if any of you speak, you know that when you know you've got to speak, you think, okay, what am I going to speak on? So you can either thank or blame Helen today, because when we had the church picnic and we all went to Mary Stevens Park, she suggested that perhaps I could talk about cake. She says, I think you could get a sermon out of anything, Carol. So do cake. So today you've got cake, okay? Bethel is very famous for its cakes. And soon, next Saturday, you'll be able to come here, bring your pennies and your pounds, because you'll be able to buy some cakes here, because the ladies at the church, we're going to get the men involved on these days as well, get them baking. They do occasionally. We've got our Bethel Bakes next Saturday on the 19th, so everyone is welcome to come to that and see how fantastic Bethel Church's cakes are. And I think there might be some after lunch today, there might be some cakes that people have made that you'll be able to say how wonderful they are. Well, our family likes cakes. And very often on a Tuesday after school, we pick Lexi up, me and Mom and Howard, and we go down Merrill and we have cake. And Claire laughs that, is it one of your 5 a day? And I go, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, you'll see soon. But cakes are a way of celebration, aren't they? We have, I think we've got birthday cake somewhere. Oh, hang on, no, that's us. Hang on, yeah, you can go back, yeah. There you go. We do like cake in our family, and I like nothing more than to go out for an afternoon tea. I know Simon's smiling, he loves to do that as well. A nice afternoon tea with cake, yeah? It's something that we do, and I like to do quite often. Okay? Can we? Yeah, we have cakes for celebrations, don't we? We've got a birthday cake. When it's someone's birthday, we have cake. Okay? When it's a wedding, we have cake. Yeah? When it's a christening or a dedication service, we often have cake. When it's an anniversary, we had a big anniversary in our family not long ago, 73 years they'd been married, and Dad's attacking the cake with a knife, and I think Mom's having a go at him for cutting the cake up, but I think after 73 years of marriage, you can cut the cake however you like. And we have Christmas, we have cake at Christmas as well. So there we've got a lovely Christmas cake. I didn't make any of those cakes. We've got a book that Lexi likes, and I think it's a great book, The Horse, the Dog, I can't remember the title, The Mole and something else. And in that book it says this, it says, if at first you don't succeed, try cake. And the mole says, he says, I see, does it work? And he says, every time. So cake is something that is something we like. But what does it say about cake in the Bible? Okay, so I'm starting with something that isn't cake. But hey-ho, it's me at the front here, so you have to put up with it. It's manna. Down the road, we've got Manna House, haven't we? And manna means God provides. We know that in the story in the Bible, they'd come out of Egypt and they were moaning about the food they'd got. And God made the stuff grow on the ground each morning, and they made their bread with it. But God provides. God's provided for our church over the last years as we think of anniversary. God has provided for our manor house down the road, and it's something that we perhaps need to be reminded of on such a special occasion as this. Then the next one I thought of was, well, manna is more bread, but we've got like a bread cake, which is bread pudding. Okay, yeah? I like bread pudding, yeah. I've got a few nods coming. My mum makes lovely bread pudding. And I have to tell her to send it down in a small amount, because if she sends a big tray full of it, then, yeah, I'm going that way instead of the right way. But bread pudding is brilliant, with lots of fruit, and Mum puts nutmeg on the top and what have you. And we have lots of fruit in cake. We've got Queen Mom cake that Anne and my mum-in-law used to like to make, fruit cake, Eccles cakes, which I know Linda's very good at Eccles cakes. But fruit, you see, so fruit is one of your 5 a day. So you can have bread pudding, that's fine, okay? And we might want to think as a church now of the fruit that we've had, the people that we've had come to our church within the last year. And also God has brought more fruit into church, but he's also sustained the people who are here every week, every year, sustaining them. And we are important. The fruit is very important in a fruit cake and bread pudding, because if you don't have it there, it wouldn't be, would it? No. And it has to be mixed throughout the bread pudding. But you do need to be careful, because if you're at the top of the bread pudding, that's where you're most likely to get burnt as the fruit. So, yeah, if you're at the top, it's the dangerous part to be. But you are important in the church. You are needed. You are welcome. And again, we've heard this message. You are loved. And you have a part to play. In John 15, verse 16, and in Psalm 139, which we've already had mentioned this morning, which everybody knows is my favourite psalm, you didn't choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How great is the sum of them. If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. God thinks about us. Isn't that wonderful? Yes. Okay, you don't seem very convinced at the moment, but there you go. It is wonderful. God has chosen us. I don't know why he chose me. I don't think I'm worth that at all, but he thinks we are worthy and he loves us. And that is wonderful, and I hope you know that this morning. The next cake I've got is a Victoria sponge. Now, I did a little bit of Googling on this, as you do, and apparently it can be traced back to the 15th century. That's even older than me, folks. Okay? And sponge cake became more famous during Queen Victoria's era. And there was a lady who was a friend of Queen Victoria called Anne Russell. And back in those days, they had lunch early and they had their evening meal about 8, 9 o'clock. Well, it was a long time from lunch to the evening meal at 8, 9 o'clock. So they used to get a little bit hungry. So Anne asked her chefs to make little things that they could eat halfway through the afternoon, just to tide them over until it was supper time at 8, 9 o'clock. And Anne Russell invited Queen Victoria, who was a friend of hers, to come to these afternoon little soirees. And Queen Victoria thought it was really nice. And the sponge cake that was served was her favourite. And in the end, it got called Victoria, Queen Victoria's cake. And we know Queen Victoria was royal. Okay? And there's our link to the Bible. We are God's children, and he tells us we are heirs, not hairs on your head. We are heirs, which means having our father or mother's fortune passed on to us. We are his children, and he shares what he has with us through Jesus. When I started to think about this, it was amazing to me that I'm a child of God. So everything that God gives Jesus, he gives to me. And that's really humbling. I can't comprehend how I can be on a par with Jesus in God's eyes. But it means we receive our allotted portion by right as God's children. And if you are following the teachings of Jesus Christ, you are one of his children, and you have that wealth of God's wonderful love and wonderful riches are ours. And that's an amazing thing to think about today. My next cake is carrot cake. So that's okay, because it's got carrot in, it's got vegetables in. I know Jane used to make wonderful carrot cake. And so it's carrots, vegetables, 1 of your 5 a day. So it's okay to eat that, folks. So it's carrot cake, no problem. But it's got vegetables in. Don't know if you like vegetables. Yes, sprouts. Our Tim likes sprouts, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, cabbage.
Yes.
Parsnips. Oh, right, okay. Broccoli. Oh, okay. Healthy lot. Asparagus. Yeah, that's quite nice. I quite like asparagus, yeah. I don't like sprouts. I have one sprout a year at Christmas, smothered in applesauce, and I can just about eat that. It's that I sort of have to force myself at Christmas to have my sprout. Well, whether you like vegetables or not, some people don't like vegetables. Kids, very often, it's very difficult to get them to eat vegetables. And you know, in life, sometimes things happen that we don't like. Sometimes God throws us a curveball, doesn't he? And we think, where on earth did that come from? I don't like this. This isn't nice. But sometimes, in the bad times, they're the times of great growth. And sometimes God sends us bad things that end up being really useful. And the difficult times when we're trusting in him can often be the times when we feel closest to him. In Psalm 55, verse 22, it says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you." So if there's something troubling you today, cast your troubles and your worries on Jesus, and he will keep you going. God is in Psalm 46, it says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And Jeremiah, our verse for church, it was on the your version of the Bible today. "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to make you prosper and not to harm you." And Romans 8:28, of course, for we know that all things work together for good to them that love God. The good and the bad works together in God's great, wonderful plan. Of course, the next one I had was chocolate cake. Yummy. And if you know me, you know I like chocolate. Yeah. Chocolate cake, yeah, yummy. Well, chocolate is made from a cocoa bean. Bean is a vegetable, so therefore chocolate cake is okay for you to eat as well. All right? Aren't you pleased you came to church today and all these wonderful healthy things that you've got? So chocolate cake can be one of your 5 a day. Well, I researched it, and apparently the scientific name, I've got Keith here, he might tell me I'm wrong, but Google says the scientific name for chocolate is Theobroma cacao. Okay? Translated, it's food of the god. Yeah, how about that? And the Aztecs apparently believed that the cocoa tree was a gift from God and a metaphorical bridge between heaven and earth. Do you know where I'm going with that one, don't you? Yeah. Who is the bridge that we've got between heaven and earth? Jesus. Because the relationship with Jesus was broken when Adam and Eve took the fruit from the tree, and it was broken. Our relationship with God was broken. And the only way to get that back is by believing and trusting in the Lord Jesus Christ. And that is the basis of what we believe in our church. That Jesus is the only way to heaven. Jesus is the only way to God. And he's the bridge. So when you're eating your chocolate cake, you can remember that it's quite scriptural and it's to do with Jesus and his love for us. And it's the food of the gods. I don't know if we'll be eating chocolate cake in heaven, but you never know. The next cake I've got is Jammy Dodger cupcakes. I love Jammy Dodgers. It takes me back to when I was 6 years old at school, and you'd have your little bottle of milk. Some of you don't know what I'm on about because it comes in a carton now. Yeah, your little bottle of milk, and I used to like to be milk monitor, so you could punch the holes with the bodger thing into the milk tops, and then put the paper straws in, which always went smashed, and then you've got to turn them upside down. And you'd have your milk and a Jammy Dodger when you were in infant school, and I do like Jammy Dodgers. They are very yummy. But you've got jammy, haven't you, which means you're lucky, okay? But you've also got the Dodger part of the Jammy Dodger cake. A few weeks ago, we had the story of Jonah, didn't we? And Jonah was dodging what God wanted him to do. And very often, we might be dodging things that God wants us to do. So at anniversary, it's a time not just to think about what's gone in the past, but what does God want for us as a church in the future? What does God want for you as an individual in the future? Or are you dodging what God wants? Are you dodging having a relationship with Jesus? Do you think church and Jesus and God is all a load of rubbish? What are you dodging today? Of course, I could have gone with lots of other cakes. We've got Rocky Road, and we know where that one would have gone. We've got Angel Cake, and we know where that would have gone. And lots of other cakes that you're probably thinking about. Oh, Carol, you could have done this one, and you could have done that one. But now I'm thinking about an ingredient with cake. And it's one of perhaps the main ingredients in most cakes. And that's flour. Particularly if it's self-raising flour. And the flour helps to raise the cake. It gives the bubbles. It gives structure to the cake, apparently. And I have read all about the scientific way it reacts with the water in the mixture, and it makes the gluten, which makes it stretchy and what have you. But I won't bore you with all those facts today. But flour is very needed. And you are needed in our church. We need to be the people who build each other up, who raise the church to grow, who stay strong. You might not be the most important folk in the church, but we need people here who encourage and help others, people who pray for the things that are going on at our church, people who help our church to grow and stay strong and to be faithful. We've got many people here who've been faithful for many years for this church. And in Hebrews 10, verse 24 and 25, it says this: "Let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." So let that be our mantra this year, to encourage each other, to do our bit, and to hopefully see God working mightily in our church. So we've had 6 cakes. Manna, God's gift. Bread pudding, we need to be the fruit and produce fruit in our lives. Victoria Sponge, we inherit God's wealth as his children. Carrot cake, all things good and bad work together for good to those who love God. Hold on, God's got this. Chocolate cake, Jesus is the bridge between God and us so that we can have a relationship with him. Jammy dodgers, don't dodge from what God is telling you. Don't dodge having a relationship with him. And the flour. Let's encourage one another. Let's keep on keeping on and keep doing our part, no matter how small. And that's how our church will thrive.